Three, two, one, let's go. Let's move this a little down. Yeah, better. So today I'm gonna look at the Morning Context website. I've tweeted in the past about the platform. I saw certain things which I think can be improved on the platform, and let's see what you think about it. Uh, I'll just open the Morning Context. And we just start. This is how the platform looks. I'm gonna look at the network call first and see how much time does it take to load this page. I haven't scrolled yet, so this is just the first pane, and seems like it takes like if you look at it here, it is 18 MB for this page to load. 18 MB for a page seems too much. We have to look what exactly is causing this to be so big. Oh, it's increasing. 25 MB. I think some of these things are coming as cache. So let me clear the cache and reload it. Yes, but still some things are coming from the cache, but it's okay. We'll look at it later. Uh, I'll just see how long the page is and what is the total size of the page. How much does it cost them to show the complete page to the user? It is somewhere around 55 MBs, which is too much in my opinion. Let's see the split. The images here. So out of the 55 MB, 48 MBs are just images, which is again too much. Let's see how if they have optimized these images or not. So I'll take this image, Baiju's image. Uh, it is 1.1 MB. I guess this is the one. I'll try and inspect it and see. Uh, this is 2000 pixels by here's the response. It is 2958 by 2196. It is 1.1 MB. Let's also see where is it coming from. So I look at the headers and see it is coming from Cloudfront. Now, what Cloudfront is? Cloudfront is a CDN, and what it does is it caches images and assets. Assets. When I say assets, it means that HTML. If you are not using any cookies to set from the server, it will cache CSS files, it will cache JS, and it will serve it without hitting your origin service. So this is hit from CloudFront, and you can see Amazon S3. This is being used, so something in 23,000 pixels is being used to load this image. Now, this image has a default width of 280 pixels. Uh, and it need not I mean to say that it's not required to load anything bigger than 20 to 80 pixels on this page. If you are working, let's say, on a retina display, then it becomes twice of that, so it would be 560 pixels. Anything more than that, you are wasting bandwidth and you are wasting money on CloudFront. Let's also see how much does CloudFront cost. Pricing. I think it is 1 TB is free of cost every month, and then it gets charged. Yes, 1 TB per month is always free. 10 million requests and keeps on changing. So for the first 10 TB, I'll look at Asia. No, we have India specific prices as well. So this is per GB. So almost one 10 cents per GB of bandwidth. So let's say this image uh, is being loaded. I don't know how the page navigated, but let's say this image, where did it go? Down below. This image, which gets loaded 1,000 times, would just cost them a GB in bandwidth. And it would cost the morning context almost 80 rupees to load this image. Not 80 rupees, 8 rupees to load this image, just this image I'm talking about. I'm not going heading anywhere. But on the other hand, if we look at something like, which I prefer to use, something like CDN, which is Bunny, what I'll do is I'll upload an image. I'll see how this thing uh, is there. I've created a folder, the morning context. And what I'll do is I'll download this image and upload it. So upload this image, my downloads folder, sort by date, and yes, in a moment's time it will get uploaded. This is yes, 1.1 MB. What I'll do is I'll copy the URL and see when it gets delivered by the CDN, how does it work. So what it did was, it's giving me the response now, and what it did was that it optimized the image on the fly and reduced the size from 1.1 MB to 223 KB. That's almost one-fourth the size. The compression ratio is 80%, and it just works. What I'll do is now that this is again, if you look at this, the response, it has optimized it to 1600 pixels. But if you remember, we were just rendering it in 280 pixels. So if I optimize it to 280 pixels max width, or we can pick the height as well. So let's say the height being 210 pixels, how would it look? What I'll do is I'll just add some parameters and change the height equal to 210. Add some additional parameters to, let's say, reduce the quality to 80%. And this is how it looks like. Now it is 210 pixels. But the interesting part is that this image is just 7 KBs. The original image was 1 MB. This is 7 KBs. That much bandwidth can be saved if you, on the fly, uh, change the size of the images. Let's say if you are looking at a screen which is Retina supported. So what it will do is it will just be twice of the existing image. Let's make it 420 pixels and see how much difference does it make. Again, brilliant, 21 KB. It is much better than uh, spending money on downloading original images which are like 2000 pixels wide and cost 1 MB. Rather than have the exact size and save bandwidth. That is how I think that's a brilliant thought. Uh, that's one way to look at this platform. Uh, Again, we can also look at what else they are using to serve the content. So majorly it's Cloudflare, not Cloudflare, Cloudfront. Um, Everything else is pretty vanilla, so which is good. Now, I found an interesting thing on the platform, and I'll just share it with you guys. If I reload the page, you will see certain post requests which are not supposed to be post requests, but that's how they have decided to do it. And I would want this to change and see if it makes sense to you guys or not. So I'll go to this and I'll make some. So this is the request which I'm looking at. So it is additions. It's a options request and it returns 204, which means there is no content available for this. But this is interesting as well. I've never used 204 as a response code because options by default is just a course check for post requests. And what it is doing is that it is checking that whether the uh, the the server can accept post requests or not. But this is the interesting part. What it does is there's a post request. There are no cookies. So there's no additional information which is being sent from the client to their servers to validate whether it is this request is valid or not. So the question comes that why the post request? Which I have no idea why the post request. It says that the count should be 120, so it should return at least 120 responses or maybe articles. The end date should be 12th of March, which is today. Sort it and sort by this and truncate it, which is pretty decent. But again, this could have been just a regular network call with get as the parameter. So it could say something like this endpoint uh, slash 120 slash date slash DSC. That's it. Or additional parameters could have been added. But that is pretty simple. It need not be a post request because you're not posting anything big. What you're doing is at client side, and there is no post request which is required. But okay, fair. There's no right way to do it. Uh, Both methods are equally correct. But let's see the response. So this is where it gets a little interesting, and this is the one. Response that is coming. This is the addition. Debt burden pushes SP Group to refinance loan backed by Tata shares. This is the title. This is a slug. But what I fail to understand is there is more information in the page which is not supposed to be on the page. So let's say I'll open this. I'll keep on digging what is happening. I guess it wasn't. This isn't the API which is returning more data than it should. Uh, yes, it is not. So what I'll do is I'll look at another request, which is, let's say this one, the stories one. And this one is again a post request. Uh, they have Express servers and Nginx is returning this. There is no cache in this. Uh, the request is send newsletters, probably, and send 20 newsletter responses. Now, this is how the response looks like. There are no filters, there should be 20 stories. And if you look at the stories, this is the interesting part of what I was talking about. So it has the category, it has the credits. I'm not sure, I'm just trying to read it and unlock one. This is the category. Probably it means that the category is unlocked. Is it free to read? No, it's not. Uh, the views. I'm not sure if this should be part of the front end or not. You don't want anybody to know how many views the your article got in the API itself, unless you want to show it, which we'll try to dig in some time. This is the type, and again the same continues. Um, that is how things are with the API. This is something I would want to change in on this platform per se, because that is how we optimize the web for user experience. You don't want 1 MB images to load on client side. Uh, what we can try to do is we can look at the mobile version as well. If any of the images are optimized for mobile, uh, we look at the images and let's say I'll go a little down and see if we can find the Baiju image. Not yet, but I think we can look at these images. This one, let's say the final image. It is 6,000 pixels by 4,000 pixels. The size of the image is 500 KB. Again, something we don't want to load it on a mobile, specifically when you are stuck at 428 pixels. Double it for retina, still not required to load something which is 6,000 pixels and cost the user almost half MB. On mobile, you want to optimize it because you don't know the user whether he's using a broadband or 4G or 3G or Edge. We don't know that. So that is a constraint, and we should be thoughtful about what is being sent on the mobile. So again, what I see is that there is no optimization for web and mobile. So that's another good start. Uh, what I think next is I'll open any of the articles and see how it functions. So I'll open this article, which is this, and this page is locked, which is okay. But at the same time, I would like to think that if I'm coming on the platform for the first time, I would want to read and understand the way the author writes and how good the morning context is. Uh, I don't want to see a paywall on the first page itself. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to draw lines from other places. So let's say I open uh, Pirate, I think writes. It's by Mike Solana. Pirate Wires, not right. This is a, I think they launched a couple of months back. Uh, and what they have done is they kind of lock uh, the articles bases the IP. So if I look at the same code base for this, what they'll do is that okay, yeah, so you can see it here. It says one free article left. What they are doing is that they are probably setting a cookie on my browser. They might be keeping a track of my IP address and my browser details. They might be keeping a record on the backend so that if the request is coming from the same IP, it would not serve any further articles, and it will say that you should start paying to get rid of the paywall. That is one thing I would want on the the Morning Context platform because I think it makes sense and gives the user the basic understanding that whether they want to subscribe or not. What they use is, I guess, they use Sanity. I remember looking at it some time back. I'll look at the network calls probably and see if I can find any sanity request. Okay, yeah. If there is any sanity request, sanity. These are images coming from Sanity CDN. Would I recommend, then the question comes that would I recommend Sanity to morning context? I would say I would not. The reason is that while Sanity is great to work with, uh, the CDN cost is too much. Uh, so if I look at the pricing here, I'll see the all plans and then I'll see the API request. So if you get 250,000 requests, uh, you pay almost $15 per seat per month. But additional requests cost $1 per 20,000, 25,000. I mean, if you are getting 600 requests per article, uh, you would exhaust it pretty quickly. The monthly free quota as well as the additional request. Uh, and on top of it, if you are looking at the bandwidth, it is 50 cents per GB, which is way too much. We were looking at zero point 0.1 per GB on Cloudfront. It is 5 times that. So it is pretty expensive. What I would recommend then is building the front end on uh, Cloudflare. You could be React, it could be Next.js, it could be Astro, it could be anything. Uh, what it'll do is it'll serve all the static content, all the images, all the CSS, all the HTML without charging you for anything. The images can be moved to Bunny CDN. It is pretty cheap. We can look at that as well. But again, bunny.net, but it's not important to look at it. This is the pricing bit. Bunny CDN, it is zero point 0.1 per 0.01 per GB, so it's 10 times cheaper than CloudFront on the images bit. Coming back to the same page, I look at if they have optimized these things on the page or not. These are the requests. These are the images. I look at the image. I'll look at it. This is 1200 pixels now, and it is being rendered in 440 pixels. What do you call a diff? Uh, should it be called? I don't think so. It should again be optimized to 880 pixels at max, not more than that. Moving ahead, uh, what else can be add here? We can look at the network request now. Uh, let's see if how they are fetching the data. So the first call will be the HTML call. I have to change it to the HTML bit. This is how the page looks. This is the header. It is from this. Uh, the request is for this page, and the response is. Why don't I see any response? Okay, there is no response. Okay, there is. So this is the response, and probably this is just the first bit where it gets logged. So, simple put, for every rupees 100, this is how it ends on the page itself. But at the same time, I saw certain network calls being made the last time I was on platform. So I'll check what network calls are being made on this page. Uh, I'll look at the stories. There is no data. I'll refresh it again. Uh, stories. There's no response. There's nothing. Why the response is 0? I fail to understand. Okay, there it is. So we are fetching the story. This was the story. Uh, Again, showing that the page has total count, total pages. I'm not sure what it means, but this is again too much information. It should not happen if there is this request, the HTML request, which was rendering on the server and creating meta tags on the server for it to SEO. So this is additional information which does nothing at all. You saw that if we move back to HTML, this request had this information already there on the page. Uh, but additional network calls on the client side are being made to fetch the story again, and which does actually nothing. It is not sending more data than what is being written on the page. So yeah, that is again something should not happen, because this API call again costs the morning context something. It's a bandwidth cost. If the user is logged in, then only it should happen. Otherwise, it should not. There are additional network calls about the authors. Uh, yeah, so this is about their authors. These are the people who write for the morning context, but how and why their emails are being rendered. Okay, I think probably because they have the social links here, they want to render it. But the question then is that why are all the people who write for them of this is the length is 21. So it kind of makes it clear that 22 people in the team write for them. I look at, let's say, Surinder, his name is this, that's how he looks like. From Mumbai, he's the executive editor, he's the editor. Stories count, he has written 201 stories. Why are we telling this to the world? I have no idea. Why is their API so open to the world? I have no idea. And that too, the request is happening on client side. It's not happening on the server end. So I think this is something redundant. It should not happen. And if the team would want me to create a version of my thought, how I would do it in a better way, how we can create something which is uh, at uh, at the same level as other platforms, other news platforms. I would love to do that. I can create 2 pages probably to start with, and see if they would want me to go forward with this or not. So yeah, that's my thought, and yeah, we're good.